Let's talk about teaching fraction. Fraction is one of the difficult topics in elementary and middle school grade. Many students have difficulty understanding what mean by fraction. And also, many students do not like to learn fraction because they do not know, why we need to learn this. So this is the question, why we teach fraction in elementary grade? When you see fraction in everyday life? Well, interestingly, many textbooks using pizza as an example of teaching fraction or model of fraction. But in your everyday life, do you use fraction when you eat pizza? For example, this picture showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So do you think that you say like a 1/8 pizza? We don't use such kind of fractions to talking about pizza. We just say one piece. How many pieces? Or if you look at this picture, these are not equal pieces. So it's not fraction. Fraction must be each fraction should be exactly the same. And sometimes people talking about pizza, okay, so I'm so hungry, may I have that large piece? This is not fraction. The fraction is the same piece, not necessarily some of the large piece, some of the small pieces. So when we use fraction, when you see fraction in everyday life, I'm sure you see this in your everyday life. Dipole, 1/2, 1 1/2, and then 3/8, lakefront, California Avenue, 2 1/2. So what this fraction means? These are miles, as you know. So that means to go to Dipole 1.5 miles. And lakefront 3/8 miles. And that's every day we use it. So in the measurement context, in the United States, we use a lot of fractions, quarter pound, or I want to have a 1.5 pound ground beef, that kind of stuff. Okay, another difficulty for many students is addition with fraction. What do you think? It is correct or incorrect? Well, of course, this is not correct. 1/2 plus 1/8 is not 6/10. However, some of the students think this is correct. Well, any mistake have some kind of reason. For example, if you imagine if you have the cup of the container has two cookies. One is chocolate cookie. So 1/2 of this container is chocolate cookie. How about another one? Total 8 cookies, 5 of them are chocolate. So if you mix these two containers, how many cookies? This is addition situation. We gotta put them together. So total 10 cookies, 6 of them are chocolate. So if you students have this image of fraction, what's wrong with this? This is totally fine. Why this doesn't make sense for us? Well, because this fraction is used to show a ratio. So if you change this one, so 1/2, which is 50% of this cookie, is chocolate. Next one is 5/8, which is 62.5% is chocolate. If you combine these two, it's not going to be more than 100%. this is 60%. So like a 50%, 62.5%, something if you mix like the 50% and 62.5, the combine it's gonna be in between these two. Another example is like a 50% the orange juice. Another one is 62.5 orange juice. If you mix, it's gonna be 60%. Not gonna be more than 100%. So this was wrong because you cannot add or subtract ratio and rate in such ways. So like each situation we call part of set meaning of fraction. You represent fractions to 1/2. Yes, correct. This is a part of a set. The second one, 5 out of 8, which is a part of a set meaning. So the part of set meaning is actually the ratio and rate. So if you teach part of a set meaning of fraction, that does not, allow us to simply add or subtract. So the fraction is, can be used in various ways. That makes it difficult. So the Common Core State Standard, in the grade 3, they introduce fraction, developing understanding of fraction as numbers. So we want to know that fraction is a representation of a number. Understand the fraction 1 over b as a quantity formed by one part when a whole is partitioned into b equal parts. Understand the fraction a over b as a quantity formed by a part of size 1 over b. Number 2, understanding fraction as a number on the number line. Represent fraction on the number line diagram. And explain quantitative equivalence of fraction in special cases, and then compare fraction by reasoning about their size. Those are kind of, the concrete way to help a student to see that the fraction is a representation of number. So the grade 3, you only limited to this fraction with denominators 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8. This is what Common Core dictate. However, the underlying concept, like a foundation for learning a fraction, is introducing in grade 2. The partition circle and rectangle into 2, 3, or 4 equal shares are described as the shares using the word halves, thirds, half of, a third of, etc. And describes the whole as 2 halves, 3 halves, 3/3, 4/4, recognizing that equal share of identical wholes need not have the same shape, which is very abstract concept, but Common Core expects grade 3 student do this kind of things through activities to lay a foundation for learning fraction. Okay, and then the fraction continue in elementary grade 4, extending understanding of fraction, equivalence, and then ordering. And build fraction from unit fraction by applying and extending previous understanding of operations on whole numbers. So that means we want students to extend their understanding of addition and subtraction to the fraction. It's not, not necessary to introducing of addition and subtraction with fraction, which is very different from the addition subtraction with whole number. No, we need to help students see the connection. How these are similar, how might be different, how you're going to update your understanding to extend addition subtraction to fractions. And grade 5, and then use equivalent fraction as a strategy to add subtract fraction, which is unlike denominators. And then apply and extend their previous understanding of multiplication and division to multiply and divide fractions. So that means not introducing brand new calculation. We want students to extend their understanding of multiplication, division with whole number to fractions. And then in this case, the grade 5 only multiplied by fraction multiplied by whole number and fraction divided by whole number. And in grade 6, they're going to extend again to multiplication with fraction multiplied by fraction. And then also division, fraction divided by fraction. That's the kind of end goal of your fraction learning in elementary grade. So think about it. Start from grade 3, 4, 5, 6. Start with concept of fraction and then extend addition subtraction to the fraction, and then grade 5 and 6 extend our understanding of multiplication and division into fractions. That's the learning progression of fraction in elementary grade based on Common Core State Standard. Okay, so that being said, end of elementary grade, your students should be able to use division with fractions to solve problems. So I want you to think about it. Can you make a problem that uses the math sentence 1/1/2 divided by 1/5? I want you to come up with story problems. So you know that that there are two types of divisions. One is partitive division, and another was quadratic division. So we have the two types of division. I wish you could come up two types of division. But what kind of situation you want to come up with these division problems? Okay, pizza? No, you do not want to use pizza. It's going to be nightmare. But measurement context, such as like a distance or cooking, and those use a lot of fractions in every day. So I want you to think about like a cooking situation or like a distance or that kind of the situation involving measurement to come up with a solution. Okay, I want you to pause this video and try to come up with a division problem. In this case, you can choose, your favorite or which one. Like if you want to try partitive division, you try it. If you want to come up with quadratic division, that's fine. I want you to come up one at least. I hope if you could come up one for each situation, that's going to be great. Okay. Please stop the video and then spend time to come up with this situation. I hope you come up at least one problem. So let me share with you what kind of problem. So my situation is cooking. I am going to make hamburgers. I am going to make hamburgers. To make one hamburger, I need 1/5 pound of ground beef. If I have 1.5 pound of ground beef, how many hamburgers can I make? Can you tell which type of division? So this is 1/5 pound for one hamburger. We have 1.5 pound of ground beef, and I wonder how many of them we can make it. So actually, this is quadratic division problem. And quantitative division problem is relatively easy to make this division with fractions. But partitive division is a little bit challenging. So we're going to discuss it later. Okay. When we teach fractions, we need to think about it. We understand and use fraction in various ways. So we use the term fraction by compressing multiple meaning of fraction in everyday life. Thus, we should unpack the meaning and then usage of fractions and then introduce them to the student gradually across the grade level. So for example, I'm gonna show some of the example. So use like a 2/3 as an example. One is representing 2 of 3 equally divided part. Okay, so do you divide like one things into 3 equal pieces and then one of them. So part of a whole meaning. Another one is representing the quotient resulting from measurements such as 2/3 meter or 2/3 liter. So the measurement context we use a lot. And then representing twice the unit that is obtained when one is partitioned into 3 equal parts. So that 2/3 means 2 of 1/3. Common Core are saying this is a concept of unit fraction. Make a unit by partitioning one part and then use this unit to quantify. Another one is like representing ratio A to B, so the relative size of A when B is considered as 1. So for example, like a cookie, like a 5/5, if you look at all 8 cookies as a 1, chocolate cookie is 5 out of 8, which is 5/8. If you consider 8 cookie as 1, another one is 1/8. That's the ratio between 1 and then 5/8. So the part of a set meaning is a ratio meaning of this fraction, which is very complicated. And then representing a quotient of 2 divided by 3. So in algebra, we say 2 divided by 3 is 2/3. Okay, it's very abstract, the concept, which is very different. So the 2 divided by 3 is you have 2 and then you equally divide it 2 into 3 equal parts. It's called 2/3. But as we say, talking about this, so this is a 2 equal part, the 2 and then equally divided into 3. So which means like this way. If you have a 2 and you divide it equally among 3 pieces. Sorry. This part. So the representing the quotient of 2 divided by 3 is if you equally divide 2 into 3 parts, one part is called 2/3, which is different from 1 divided into 3 equal parts and then 2 of them. So therefore, the number 1 and then number 5 is very different. So those are kind of typical 5 usage or meaning of fractions in everyday. So we need to think about which gonna introduce first and which gonna comes later. So let's see. When you introduce the part of the whole meaning is quite important. So we help students to see the the process of coming up fractions. So there is mystery tape. So this is the mystery tape, and I want you to show how long is this in meter, because we only have a meter. So we need to see the relationship between two. Okay. In this case, the activities, actually you can give this the tape strips to the student, and then to figure out this like a mystery strips, well, as a reference, using 1 meter as a reference, without using ruler. That's a concept of how to equally partition it. Okay, so first you need to align this, the end, because we want to compare these lengths. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Oops, we have a little bit more, but it's not 4. So because the 1 meter is 3 times as much of this mystery strip, however, less than 4 times as much. So how are we gonna do this? So I cannot use this to see the relationship between 1 meter. I need to make a new unit to see the relationship. So what is the kind of common unit between 1 meter and then yellow tape? So how about using half of this as a unit, like this, 1. So half of this. Okay, wow, that's fit. So the red is 1/7 of meter, because like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1/7 of 1 meter. So that means this is 2 of them. So how much? So this is therefore like a 2/7 of 1 meter, right? So this is 1/7, 2 of them. So we call 2/7 meter. That's like a way to show this kind of mystery strip. But this is a little bit difficult topic. So when you're introducing student, maybe you can start with like this, a little more than 1 meter. But this is not 2/7, so more simple. For example, if you put this one, 3 of them fit into 1 meter. How we call it? We can introduce this one, 3 yellow strips fit into 1 meter. This is when 1 meter is partitioned into 3 equal parts. This is 3 equal parts. Each part is called 1/3 of 1 meter. So it is written 1/3 meter, and then we read it 1/3 meter. Okay. So that's the way to introducing part of a whole meaning of this. Okay. So then next, how about the 2 of this? So we could say 2/3. So using a 1/3 and then 2 of them, 2/3, which is one of the meaning of like a unit fraction. 1 set up a unit, 2 of them. And 2/7 is kind of, you could do this activity in the later on, the 2/7. But when you actually teach it, start with 1/3 and maybe 2/3. And then you could say, how about this, like 1/5 meter? 1, how about this is 2/5, 3, 4, what happened to 5? So the using 1/5 as a unit to kind of quantify 2 of them, 3 of them, 4 of them, that's a relationship between fraction strip and then number line. So let's see. Let's investigate more on the relationship between number line and then fraction strip. So the fraction strip is like, showing this quantity. So like interval. This is 1. And the number line is not, showing a location. The number line diagram is a way to show the number using in a location. So this is like an address of this street. Okay. what happens if you use like 1/3? 1/3 is made from 1 meter, or 1 equally divided into 3 parts, and then one of them we call 1/3. So this is an address, the 1/3 we call it. How about 2 of them? 2 1/3 we call 2/3. Again, 1/3 can we show like a tape strip is to show this the interval, and then the tick mark showing a location. So like 2/3 is twice as much of 1/3 because 2 of them. How about 3? We call 3/3. Oh, this is the same location of 1. So that is a kind of concept of equivalent fraction. Like equivalent of this like whole number and fraction. How about 4? Equals 4/3. So improper fraction should not be difficult because just simply counting, okay, 4 of them. And then the relationship between improper fraction and then mixed number is, oh, this is 1 and then 1/3. It's called 1 1/3, which means 4 of them total. So like using a tape strip and then number line help students to see the complicated concept of fraction easily. And then once it's kind of 5, this is 5/3. Okay, let's create another tape using another tape strip to to put on the number line. How about this? 1/2 is here. How about 2/2? 2/2 is 1. How about 3? 3/2. How about this? 1/6. Oh, 2/6 is same location with 1/3. This is like beginning of equivalent fraction, which we want the student to realize. Oh, these two, the fraction have the same location. That is a common core grade 3. We want the student to realize this, rather than teacher teach how you convert, how you the making a equivalent fraction multiplied by 2 for the numerator and denominator. No, we want the student to realize by using investigation. How about 3? Oh, we call like 1/2. So, see, we've been talking about number is an invisible concept, and then the numerals or fractions or like whole numbers are representation of numbers. So this number have a 2 different representation. This number can represent 1/3 or 2/6. 2 different representation, the multiple representation. Okay. So, and then 2/3 is, you can also show like a 4/6 and 5/6 and 6/6. So the 1 have a 1, 2, 3, 4 different way to represent in this location. So, and then 7/6 like that. Okay. So those are activities that we want students to experience, and then we want the student to discover some of the fraction showing the same location of a number line. So, and then you could discuss like which is larger, 1/2 or 1/3, or like which is larger, 2/3 or 2/6. You can compare by using this. So the grade 3 is very hands-on, like using this model to manipulate and then find the relationship among fractions. So the meaning of fraction. We've been talking about this like a part of a whole meaning, and then measurement situation, and then concept of unit fraction. Those should be introducing in the grade 3. But 4 and 5, these are not. We do not want to teach part of a set meaning in the grade 3 because that confuses student. Okay. So let me finish here. And then we're gonna see the next slide, which is multiplication, the story problems with fractions.